Hare Krishna. Welcome to the Bhakti-rasāmṛta-sindhuḥ discussion, everyone. Thank you for joining, and we will start with Mangalacharan prayers. I will share the screen. Om
Jnanandasya Jnananjana
Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutah Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha Namahom Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Let me just send a quick message on the group that class has started. Okay. Thanks. All right. Let us recite the memorization verses and then also the verses from Shad Goswami Ashtakam. One sec. So here we have Are you seeing the slides?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So here we have the discussion of Śrī Bhakti-rasāmṛta-sindhuḥ by Srila Rupa Goswami, whose English summary study is given by His Divine Grace, Abhay Charnaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. And I will sing these two verses. Please sing along on mute. Krishna Kirtana Gana Nartana Paro Premamritambo Nidhi Dhira Dhira Jana Priyo Priyakaro Nirmatsaro Pujito Shri Chaitanya Kripa Bharo Bhuvi Bhuvo Bharavahantarako Vande Rupa Sanatano Raghuyugo Shri Jiva Gopalako Nana Shastra Vicharanaika Nipuno Saddharma Samsthapako Lokanam Hitakarino Tribhuvane Manyo Sharanyakaro Radha Krishna Padaravind Bhajana Nandena Mattaliko Vande Rupa Sanatano Raghuyugo Shri Jiva Gopalako. Now, if you all can unmute and we can recite the memorization verses. Anya Bhilashita in lead follow. I'll start again. Anyabhilashita shunyam.
Anyabhilashita shunyam.
Jnana karmadhyanavritam.
Jnana karmadhyanavritam.
Anukulyena krishnano.
Anukulyena krishnano.
Tam bhaktiruttama.
Śrīlanam bhaktiruttama.
Sarvopadhi vinirmuktam.
Sarvopādhi
Vinirmuktam.
vinirmuktam.
Tatpartvena nirmalam.
Tatpartvena nirmalam.
Ikena rishikesha.
Rishikena rishikesha.
Sevanam bhaktiruchyate.
Sevanam
Nam
bhaktiruchyate.
bhaktiruchyate.
Atah Shri Krishna namadi.
Atah Shri Krishna
Krishna namadi.
Bhaved grahyamindriyai.
Na
Bhavet
bhavedgrahyamindrayai.
yamindriyaihi.
Jivhado.
Sevanmuktahi jivado.
Eva suratyadaha.
Svayam
Yeva
suratyadaha.
suratyadaha.
Saktasya
Anasaktasya
Saktasya
vishayan.
vishayan.
Yatharham upayunjataha.
Yadharham vayunjadaha.
Daha.
Bandha Krishna sambandhe.
Nirbandha
Daha
Krishna
Krishna
sambandhe.
sambandhe.
Yuktam vairagyamuchyate.
Yuktam
Yuktam
vairagyam
vairagyam
uchyate.
muchyate.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Very nice. Okay. So now we will continue with today's content. So let's see. So we finished till number 36, which were, so we are on the 64 limbs of bhakti. And we completed till number 36. So those were the ones which involved the faculty of speech. So basically, the last one that we covered was stava part, or reciting the prayers. Before that, we had vidyapti, which is a very important limb where one offers personal prayers. And then prior to that, we had nama sankirtana, or sankirtana as a whole, and japa and sankirtana and all. So now we start with the next one, which is naivedya asvadana. So now we will include the faculty of the tongue. So faculty of the speech was done. Now the same thing, tongue has two purposes: speaking and eating or relishing various foodstuffs. So that is naivedya asvadah, or honoring prasadam. Okay, so that's where we are. So this is limb number 37 and verse number 160 in the Bhakti-rasāmṛta-sindhuḥ, and it is from the Padma Puran. So in the interest of time, we are not going into the detailed verses, but I am summarizing the content of the verses and the commentaries. So all the important points from the Bhakti-rasāmṛta-sindhuḥ are being captured here. So naivedya means food that is offered to the Lord, and asvadah means to taste it. So it means tasting or eating the remnants of the Lord's food. And two more things are mentioned, that first of all, it should also be sprinkled with some charanamrta. Now that will be the next limb, which, as you will see, charanamrta is coming up next. But take the charanamrta if it is available, it's not mandatory, and sprinkle it on the prasad, and also adorn the prasad with a tulsi leaf. Even a dry tulsi leaf is okay. So, or if you have a tulsi plant, then it is okay to pluck leaves from the tulsi plant, but only for the purposes of offering to the Lord. So for that purpose, it is acceptable. and then offer it with tulsi, and then honor the prasad with tulsi. Try not to chew the tulsi, try to swallow the leaf whole. But if it is too big, or if you have a big manjari, then you can cut it into smaller pieces and try to swallow it whole. Now, couple of other interesting points related to honoring prasadam. Prasadam, it is said in the Murti Pura is the Sanskrit word that is used. Now, one thing I just wanted to add on the tulsi leaves, for those that do not have tulsi plant in their home, are not able to worship tulsi, our Madhav Gauranga Prabhu here, who is in Portland area, has offered that, he has he has a whole nursery of tulsi plants, and he serves them very nicely. So dry tulsi leaves he can give in a packet for all of you, whoever is interested, at least in Portland. So please take advantage of that. And we also take advantage of that from him, because we also used to have a tulsi plant, but not anymore right now. We will probably invite tulsi, mother tulsi, and the plant form sometime in the future. Okay, so then the prasad should be honored outside what is known as Murti Pura, or the place where Shri Jiva Goswami explains Murti Pura means the innermost sanctum. So wherever is the innermost room, now it is subject to some interpretation, what you call as the innermost sanctum. In our Portland temple, for example, now in a big temple, you can call the Garbhagriha as the innermost sanctum. And of course, they will not allow you to eat anywhere even close to that. But in a smaller setting, or in a, like in our Portland temple, whether you call the altar as the innermost sanctum or the entire temple hall is subject to one's interpretation. So one can apply that interpretation by consulting senior devotees or by consulting their guru. But prasadam should not be honored inside the temple, we can say, or inside the innermost sanctum of the temple, subject to interpretation. Now, prasadam also includes prasadam that is offered to great devotees, or devotees in whom you have a lot of astha or a lot of faith. So if there is and this includes your guru primarily, if you have a formally you have taken diksha from a guru, then definitely that devotee is in this category. Or anyone else from whom your bhakti has been very strongly nourished. Such devotees also, are counted in this category, and honoring their prasad. So they will eat prasad, and then for you, it would become second level prasad. Prasada's prasad, so to say, prasad. So you can honor that prasad as well. Now, there is a very interesting point. Srila Jiva Goswami, as you know, we are also looking at commentaries by Jiva Goswami and Sri Vishwanatha Chakravarthy Thakur, in addition to Srila Prabhupada's Nectar of Devotion. So those are pretty much the three textbooks or three versions we are consulting. So Sri Vishwanath Chakravarthy Thakur says that one must not eat in front of the deity. So in front of the deity, basically, period, there should not be a straight line of sight, as you say, from the deity to your prasadam plate where you are eating. And that is why in homes also, where, it's a small home and, you have your deities, you put a little cover in front of the deity, and then you can eat in the same room. It can be a little like a file folder or a book, or just a screen or something you put in front of the deity to block the line of sight. And this is just common sense also, that, you don't want to eat in front of a great personality. If you are meeting the CEO of your company, you can't walk in with your lunch half eaten. In a small team meeting with your teammates, I have done that. But if a CEO is sitting or some very senior person is sitting, I would not dare walk in with a, half-eaten plate of lunch and start eating in front of him and, wipe my face and all that. I would rather, focus on what he's saying very carefully and with some sort of a etiquette. The same thing applies for the Lord. So there is not anything sort of magical or any huge rule here. It's just a normal etiquette which we apply in our regular life. So we need to apply it with Bhagavan as well. And this is the standard that we follow. Now, interestingly, Sri Vishwanath Chakravarthy Thakur says that except for tambula, tambula means betel nut or pan, eating in front of the deity is not forbidden. He says it's okay. And I do not have any resolution to this sort of a difference of opinion. So this is a clear example. I just wanted to use this as a clear example of difference of opinion amongst our most exalted acharyas. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarthy Thakur and Srila Jiva Goswami are two like giants. They are like the two big generals who have written commentaries on so many scriptures, including the Srimad Bhagavatam and so on, that both their opinions matter equally. And in this case, they are 180-degree opposite. So what do we do? So we accept both opinions. And in this particular case, we take the instruction from our primary Shiksha Guru, which is Srila Prabhupada and all his, and even if you have a Diksha Guru within ISKCON, they will all be obviously disciples of Srila Prabhupada, and the standard we follow is to not eat in front of the deity. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarthy Thakur is not saying you must eat in front of the deity. He's not saying that. He's saying it's not forbidden to eat in front of deity. So better be on the safe side and not eat in front of deity. Okay? He's not saying you must eat in front. That would have been a problem. Then you are like, it's mutually exclusive. So we take the sort of the common aspect, the common denominator of both and say, okay, we will not eat in front of deity. There is a nice little story I read somewhere about a brahmana who took this limb to heart. Now, again, honoring prasad, we all eat food. We cannot survive without food. So one can say, okay, I will offer to the Lord and eat. I will add that extra 5 minutes of, I will insert that 5 minutes of process delay. One can think like that. I used to think like that when I was many years ago. Okay, so that's fine. But like we said, all these limbs of bhakti should be done with a lot of feeling, with a genuine sense of pleasing, trying to please Krishna, that Krishna, you have eaten it, and I am, by me accepting your remnants, you will be pleased. So with that mood, one should honor or take the prasad. So, there are several stories of this. One thing that in the mood of pleasing the Lord means that, please hear carefully before I come to this story. When you cook prasad and you offer the prasad, in our situation, because we are not pure, the whole plate comes back to us. Everything comes back. If you put 5 laddus, all 5 laddus will come back. We have, at least I have that full faith that all 5 laddus will come back. So if I can eat 5 laddus, I will make 5 and offer 5 because I know all 5 will come back. This whole offering to Lord is just a, my immature level of bhakti, and I will get to eat 5 laddus. So that is the immature mentality. When one is offering to the Lord, one should offer with the mood that entire thing that I am cooking will be gone, will be completely gone, and nothing will be left for me. One should never think that, oh, Lord eats 5, I want 5, so let me make 10. Because if you make 10 with that mentality, what if the Lord eats all 10? He can eat. Look at Govardhanji. He ate a whole village made preparation, and then he said, I want more, aniyor. And they made again, and they made again, and they kept making, and he kept eating. So there was no limit of how much the Lord can eat. So when we make prasad, we should genuinely, this is the mood in which we should offer the prasad, that best is if nothing remains. By chance, if that's why it is called remnant. By chance, if something is left, I will have. Otherwise, I will go hungry, because the Lord thought it is better that this fellow should stay hungry. If he wanted that I should eat something, he would have left something. Just like a mother, mother, when she cooks in the kitchen, obviously she cooks for the whole family. And she knows that I today want to give something to the child. So I will cook extra. If one day she is mad at the child and she says, today no food for you, then she will cook less, because she wants the child to not have, or if the child is sick or whatever. So if we are sick in our heart and the Lord does not want us to eat, he will not leave anything in the plate. And that is the mood with which we should offer. And if something is stuck on the side of the plate, we should just scrape it off. For those who are studying the Srimad Bhagavatam, we in the Canto 1, Chapter 4 and 5, Narad Muni, it was written, would scrape off from the plate. Because when the sadhus were eating, they were not expecting this little boy to, that I have to leave something for him. So that is the mood, the genuine mood of honoring prasad, is to really try to scrape off anything left over from the plate. Not like if I offer 5 laddus, all 5 will come back. There is this great story of this Brahman boy, whose father, this is a different one, who you all know the story probably, that his father used to offer, and one day he went for some work. He told his son to offer to the Lord. And when the son offered, he was very, very, sweet and very small, nice devotee. And this story is in Chaitanya Charitamrita. I forget the name of the boy. If somebody remembers, you can tell me. And when he offered, the Lord ate everything. Nothing was left. He was very happy.
Raghunath. He's
Huh?
Raghunath. Raghunath, Prabhuji.
Raghunath. Okay. Thank you. So when the father came back, he said, okay, have you offered the prasad? Okay, yes, I offered. Okay, now let us have it. He said, what do you mean let us have it? It's all over. He said, you ate everything? He said, no, I didn't eat. Gopalji ate everything. He said, what do you mean Gopalji ate? What are you talking about? He's just a deity. How can deity eat? And what do you mean deity is supposed to eat? I offered him and I waited, and then he came and he ate. He said, what nonsense you are talking? You must have eaten the whole thing, and you don't want to share with me, and that's why you are making this story. So he said, no, no, it really happened. So he said, okay, again you cook. Again I will cook. So he cooked again. The boy again went to the deity, and the father was looking from the outside. And again deity came and ate. And then the father came to know that how great devotee his own son is. So that is the mood, with which one should offer, that everything will go away. And even for the cooks, here is another important point. When you are cooking prasad or bhoga, as we say, you try to cook with a mood that nothing will come back to you. Try to cook with that one day. Try to call some friends at your home and try to cook with the mood that nothing will be left for you. Try to see how much interest and how much love you are able to put into that cooking, if you know beforehand that you will not get any part of it. For me, because I am very impure, my level drops. If I know I will get some part of it, then yes, I will cook with a lot of interest. Yes, others can also have, including Bhagavan can also have, but my share is guaranteed. That is also a very immature or an impure mentality. So these are some of the things. This is where you can improve in your limb of bhakti of naivedya asvadah. There is the story of this brahmana. We have been talking about cooking also, so I mixed in the cooking along with naivedya asvadah. But technically, a naivedya asvadah means just honoring. So there is this brahman. He used to really honor prasad with this mood to please the Lord. So one day he became late to the temple, so that he used to take prasad from the temple. So he was late and all the prasadam was over. But he was so, he did not want to let go of this eating the remnants of the Lord. So there was one sweeper, what we call like a janitor. He was just cleaning up the old, the used plates. So he took one used plate and scraped off the prasad from some other devotee's plate, which he was cleaning up. And he honored the prasad with the mood that today there should not be any day where I do not taste the prasad of the Lord. So it's a very, kind of a gross thing to do from a material standpoint, but from his standpoint, it was a limb of bhakti. So these are some of the points to keep in mind for honoring prasad. Is there anything on the chat? Eating in front of the deity, does it depend upon the size of the temple or area or dining, Prabhuji? So the simple rule of thumb that you should apply is direct line of sight. Okay, if there is direct line of sight, even if you are 100 meters away, if it is a big hall, but you can see the deity, you should not. Okay, there should be something to block the line of sight. Either a different room, in which case it would be a wall, or a curtain, or some screen, or whatever, You can, sit behind a pillar, maybe. The pillar will block the line of sight. So that rule you can apply, okay? Okay, next. Padya asvadah. So this is, padya means from the lotus feet of the Lord, which is called charanamrta. So the water or whatever fluid or liquid has been used to wash the feet of the Lord. So this verse is taken from, this is the same verse, one of the verses from Padma Purana. We do not have a number for it. And Padya asvadah means taking water that has been, or tasting water that has been offered to the feet of the Lord or has washed the feet of the Lord. And now here is another important point. I wanted to use this verse. There is not much to say about this verse other than honor charanamrta, just like honoring prasad, honor charanamrta. The verse says this, that one who honors the charanamrta, even if he has not done any charity, dan, or fire sacrifice, havan, or study of the Vedas, still he gets the highest destination. One attains the paramam or paramam gatim. It is written in the verse from Padma Purana. So you have not done any charity, any havan, anything, not even any sankirtana, any other things. Just if you have tasted charanamrta, then you get paramam gatim. You get the supreme goal. And here we have to chant 16 rounds. We have to do so much devotional service. How it is possible that it is said that just by tasting the charanamrita, one attains the supreme goal? Is it so easy? How should we understand these verses? And many, many verses of these limbs, many verses on the limbs. And today we will see some of the easy limbs, like just honoring prasad. Hey, who doesn't like prasad? Is there any person in the world who will say no to nice, hot, tasty prasad? You don't even have to tell that it is prasad. It's free, nice, fresh, hot, tasty food. Who will say no to free food? As in corporate, we have a phrase like, there is no free lunch. Well, in Krishna consciousness, there is free lunch. So who will, in the material world, there is no free lunch, but the point is free lunch is very rare. But here, there is free lunch, and why will anybody reject it? And by just having free lunch, you get paramam gatim. So how is it that, and all these limbs today that we will discuss another limb called smelling the flower of the Lord, which has been offered to the Lord. In the temple, if you have come, I'm sure somebody has given you a flower to smell. Yes? That is one of the limb of bhakti. Just by smelling, you can go back to spiritual world. No need for any chanting, no need for Srimad Bhagavatam, no need to take Diksha, no need to do any of those things. So how to understand? Most of these verses are of that nature. from Padma Puran, Skanda Puran, etc., etc. If you do this, you will go back to spiritual world. If you do this, all your sins will be removed. Well, if sins are removed, that means all your karma is removed. And it means you will go back to, you will at least get Brahma Jyoti Sayujya Mukti, the impersonal liberation. At least you will get, if all your karma is removed, all your sinful activities or your sinful reactions are removed. So what is the meaning? How to understand this? This is a very important point. I just wanted to use this verse to highlight that point because it applies to all the points, that it's not that it is so easy that by just doing it, one can go back to spiritual world. So, easy promises of the highest goal in shastras, how to understand. So many verses pertaining to the 64 limbs of bhakti, like this one, make such promises that by tasting charanamrta, one attains paramam gatim. From Bhagavad Gita, we know paramam gatim means Vaikuntha or Golok Vrindavan. So in the Srimad Bhagavatam 6.2.7, what is 6.2 chapter? What is being discussed in 6.2? Very important chapter of Bhagavatam. Who remembers? Prahlad Maharaj is Canto 7. Canto 6. What is the first?
Prabhuji, is it Ajamil?
Yes, it is Ajamil.
Yeah, Jamil. Sorry.
So, Ajamil pastime, very, 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 it's a seminal pastime. It's like one of the foundational pillars of Srimad Bhagavatam is Ajamil pastime. It is so central to Srimad Bhagavatam. So there is a verse, there are many verses actually, but there is one of these verses, 6.2.7. It says, chanting Krishna's name even once, sakrid, even once, just once, and that too without purity, makes one eligible for liberation. So let's do this. If all of you or as many possible, please unmute right now. Okay, let us together say Krishna.
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 Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
All right, done. Now you are all going to get liberated. No need to do anything else. We are done. I did not say Krishna with purity, and I said once Krishna. So what does it mean? So in that, what it means is the following. Srila Sridhar Swami, who Chaitanya Mahaprabhu authorized that his commentary is 100% authorized. The Srimad Bhagavatam, his commentary is as good as Srimad Bhagavatam itself. And Srila Prabhupada, follows from there. They quote this very, very important verse. It is, it's quoted by both of them. I do not have the exact reference of this verse from where it is, but it is mentioned in the purports of these two great acharyas, Sridhar Swami and Srila Prabhupada. So anyway, let's look at this verse. Sakrid Uchcharitam yena harir iti aksharadvayam baddha parikarastena mokshaya gamanam prati. So let us try to understand this verse, okay? And I have color-coded every line so that you can understand the meaning. Green means the green meaning. Sakrid means once, like in Nectar of Instruction, Sakrid api saraha snatur avish karoti. Even taking bath once in Radha Kund. That verse is there, once. Sakrid means once. Uchcharitam, uchcharan karna, to say, right? Utter. Yena means one who. So, Sakrid Uchcharitam Yena, one who even once utters Harir iti aksharadvayam. That Hari's name of two aksharas, two syllables. Hari. So these two iti, these aksharadvayam, two-syllabled word Hari. Baddha parikarasyena. He ties his waist belt. Okay, like, I am going on a journey. He ties his waist belt. Baddha parikaras. Baddha means to tie. Parikara is one of the meaning I looked up in the Sanskrit dictionary. The meaning that is given is a waist belt. Like, in the old days, you would have like a cloth. And before, you want to go for a run, you make it tight so that it doesn't like become loose and fall. Tena, that person, mokshaya gamanam prati. Prati is a very important word. Mokshaya means for moksha, gamanam goes, prati means towards. Isn't it? For those who know Hindi, prati means towards. Iske prati means towards him. So what it means? What it means is that by taking the name of Hari even once, it's not that you get liberation today or guaranteed liberation after this life. You have taken the first step towards liberation. Okay? By taking the name of Hari, you have taken one step. Now you may come back also. You may take 5 steps backward also. But by taking the name of Hari, you have taken one step forward towards that goal of moksha. So like Hari Parshad Prabhu explains this in a sort of a nice way. When we say like, let's say, this person, there are 2 people in this picture, here is a hut and there is one man there and there is one man here. And let us say they are in Bombay. And this fellow is trying to go to Delhi. So he has left the house and he will say that I am going to Delhi. He has only come this far. That other friend has said bye-bye to him. Bye, see you later. And he has gone to Delhi. But where is he right now? He's very close to the house from where he left. Has he reached Delhi? Far from it. He has just left the house and taken 10 steps. But if somebody asks that other friend, okay, who is still in the house, hey, where is your friend? What will he say? He has gone to Bombay or whatever. He has gone to Delhi. That's what he will say. He has gone to Delhi means that he has started his journey towards Delhi. Right? So that is why when these verses in the shastras say that you attain liberation, means you have gone to Bombay or you have gone to Delhi. They attain liberation. He has attained Bombay. That is fine. He has attained Bombay means he is right around the corner and he is going towards Bombay. Maybe he will come back. He will change his mind and come back also. So that is the clear understanding, the shastric understanding of how we should understand these things. So just by taking the name once, it's a very good first step. But we have to take it continuously with attention, with love, with feeling. And then we will actually reach the destination of Delhi or Bombay, whatever it is, of liberation or Vaikuntha. Okay. So that is how we have to understand all these promises. So if you look at some of these verses, you will find very, very, very easy promises. Just by smelling the flower, you will go to Vaikuntha. Just by tasting our charanamrta, by eating prasad, you will go to Vaikuntha. So very easy promises are made, and this is how we should understand them. Okay, next one. Dhupa malyadi saurabhyam. Saurabhyam means to smell. Dhupa malya adi. So you can see here Srila Prabhupada is smelling a flower, and everybody who has come to temple has been given sometimes some flower to smell. So very quickly we will cover these. So there are 3 verses, 62, 63 and 64. 162, 163, 164, which cover this one. And it talks about not just the dhupa, mala, adi. So adi is there. Adi means etc. So dhupa means incense, flower, or malya means mala, a garland. It also includes flowers and various other things, oils, etc., etc. So 162 talks about dhupa saurabhyam. 163 talks about malya or garland saurabhyam. 164 talks about gandha pushpa adi saurabhyam. There can be so many fragrant things to be offered. So fragrant flowers, fragrant oils, and so many other things can be offered. So all that is included. So this is another one. I'm not including all the consequences of it mentioned in the verses. If you do this, this will happen. For that, you can read directly the verses and you can know what is mentioned. But I told you how to understand that. That even if it is mentioned, you will go to Vaikuntha, it means you will take a step towards Vaikuntha. Okay, so that's why I'm not mentioning all the results that are mentioned. They are basically mentioned to attract the new people who want to go towards Bhagavan, that, okay, take one step, take one step. This is so easy to take one step. You don't have to, stand on one foot and, stop your breathing and all those things. Just you have to smell fragrant flower. They will say, okay. And slowly they will get attracted to Bhagavan. So that is the purpose of these statements in the Shastras. Next one, Śrī Murtehe Sparshanam. So Sparshana means to touch. Murti means to the deity form. This is from a scripture known as Vishnu Dharmottara. There should be an H there, not Dharmottara, but Dharmottara. So I will fix that. And it means touching the lotus feet of the Lord. And there is not much else in the verse, except that Sri Jiva Goswami writes that it needs qualification or eligibility to touch the deity form of the Lord. So in the temples, only pujaris, etc., they are allowed to touch the deity. We all take darshan. That will come little later, that take darshan of the deity from far away. But touching is only for those who are eligible. What eligible? Brahmanical initiation. So one should take diksha. Now, diksha is broken into Harinam diksha and Brahman diksha. So touching the deity means Brahman diksha. And our acharyas say that it means touching the lotus feet of the Lord. So that can be touched. Again, one needs diksha to touch, but that can be touched any time that the dikshit person wants, but can also refer to touching the entire body, so to say, or the entire deity form, but only while doing seva. You cannot just go and shake hands of the deity. Hey, how are you? So that is not allowed. So you can touch the feet of the deity to get the deity's blessing, but the rest of the deity body can be touched as a part of seva when you are dressing or decorating or painting or carrying the deity from one place to another. All those activities, you can touch the deity. So under the guidance of my spiritual master, Sri Srimad Romapad Maharaj, I wrote a detailed document on the significance of Brahmana Diksha. So if anybody wants that, or I will post it in the Bhakti Shastri group. Anybody who's outside Bhakti Shastri, if they want, they can message me. And this is a very important document. And everybody, like, remember the first instruction. Okay. So Guru Padashraya, and then taking Diksha from the Guru, and then taking Shiksha from the Guru. And then doing Seva to the lotus feet of the Guru. Vishrambhena Gurur Seva. So these things one should keep in mind. And since Diksha is broken down into two steps, Harinam Diksha, what is known as, and Brahman Diksha. So if one is not initiated in Harinam Diksha, try to, get there as soon as possible. It is not an option. It's not optional. For multiple reasons, we have discussed it so many times that taking Diksha is so important. One of the reasons for taking Diksha, I will tell you, I recently came across this. I may not have told this before. Please hear very carefully, okay? Especially about taking Diksha. A very practical reason why you should take Diksha, okay? So please hear from me very carefully. Everybody awake? Especially those who have not taken Diksha. Please hear. It gives a right to the Guru to correct you. I will say it again. It gives a right to the Guru. Right means a adhikar, authority to the Guru to correct you. if you are not a formal disciple, one of the qualities of a guru is that he's very compassionate. So if he is seeing that you are doing some nonsense, he may say generally in the class, but he will never point out to you or call you or do something or something like that. And even, but if you are a Dikshit Shishya, then he feels just like, your own child. It's the same thing. Guru is spiritual father. In the yatra I showed, Srila Prabhupada listed who as in the father's name in the passport. Not Gaur Mohan Dey, who was his biological father and very nice father. He did very good upbringing, but he listed Srila Bhakti-siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj as his father. So spiritual master or guru is father. And like in your own family, if your child is doing some nonsense, you will correct him. But if somebody else's child is doing something, you will just stay quiet. It is the duty of his parent to correct. Isn't it? At least I do that. Unless he is, getting himself in some danger, trying to touch fire or whatever, put a pin inside the electrical outlet, obviously then I will save him. But if he's just fooling around, okay, it's for his father to correct. So when you take Diksha, I mean, this is one of the reasons, one of the very materially understandable reasons why one should take Diksha is so that the Guru feels he's my disciple, I need to correct him. And I have the authority to correct him. He will feel that ownership. Otherwise, he's like, okay, I shouldn't. He will apply his compassionate side and say, okay, Bhagwan will correct him and he will get on the right path and he will give general instructions, but he won't point out. So anyway, that is kind of a formal, if creating a formal relationship there. Okay, anyway, Brahman Diksha, second one, also then one should take the steps to take the Brahman Diksha as well. And obviously the most important point there is to become a Brahman. Become a Brahman means become a Brahman quality-wise. So develop Brahmanical qualities. So that document, much of it talks about developing Brahmanical qualities. And by the way, side effect is that you get to touch the deity. That's a side effect. Okay, it is not any kind of status symbol or anything like that. One should not take it in that way. So I will post it in the Bhakti Shastri group, the PDF. If anybody else is interested, send me a message. So that's another point. Okay, third one. Now this one everybody can do. Śrī Murteḥ Darshanam. Darshan of the Lord. So that's very standard, Everybody comes to temple. Why you are coming to temple? Even though real reason may be prasad, at least they will go and take darshan. That is a minimum etiquette everybody follows. Nobody just comes and eats and leaves. They at least go take darshan of the Lord. So that's very nice. So seeing the Lord's deity. And this is from Sri Varaha Puran. Sri Rupa Goswami has selected a verse from Sri Varaha Puran. And here he has done a very nice thing. Now, who is this deity that you see here? Anybody recognizes? Very, 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 very famous deity. Yes, Shri Radha Govind Dev Ji. One of the original 3 deities made by Vajranabh. Vajranabh is the great grandson of Lord Krishna. And he made these 3 primarily or original deities, Govind Ji, Gopinath Ji, and Madan Mohan Ji. All 3 are in Rajasthan. And these deities were worshipped by the Goswamis. 2 of them, Sri Radha Govind Dev Ji was worshipped by Rupa Goswami. Madan Mohan Ji was worshipped by Sanatan Goswami. And Gopinath Ji was worshipped by Madhu Pandit Goswami. He is not counted within the 6 Goswamis, but he is also one of the Goswamis, Madhu Pandit Goswami. So Govind Dev Ji was worshipped by Sri Rupa Goswami, and he was very, very, very dear to Rupa Goswami. Rupa Goswami was this was his personal deity. He found this deity when in the first wave of invasions before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when the invaders came from the Muslim invaders, then this deity was buried in the ground. And later when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, he wanted this deity to be rediscovered. He obviously knew, but he gave that seva to Rupa Goswami. And Rupa Goswami went to Vrindavan and kept searching, and nowhere he found. Then one day a little boy came and told, why are you sad? He says, I have been given this order by my guru, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to find this deity. That boy says, maybe I have a clue. There is one cow who goes at this particular place and every day just pours milk in the ground. Rupa Goswami got an idea. Maybe there is the deity down there and the cow is going and offering milk every day to the deity. So he took some villagers with him and started digging that place, and he found the Govind Dev Ji deity. This Govind Dev Ji deity also was the one that was passed down through the generations to Śrī Baladev Vidyabhushan. It was worshipped by Śrī Baladev Vidyabhushan as well. And by this time, the deity was already in Rajasthan, in Jaipur, or in the Rajasthan area. If you remember, that whole debate happened where the authenticity of Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya was questioned, and Baladev Vidyabhushan was asked to write a commentary on Śrī Vedanta Sutra within a very short period of time, and with the blessings of Śrī Govind Dev Ji. And it is said that Govind Dev Ji personally dictated the commentary on Vedanta Sutra to Baladev Vidyabhushan, and he just copied it. He just took the dictation, and he presented it to the assembly of other Vaishnavas, and they all accepted it. So that is the importance of Govind Dev Ji deity. This deity is present. So this deity was brought back. Obviously, it was present in Vrindavan after Rupa Goswami discovered it. But again, after Aurangzeb invaded and took this vow that I will destroy all the Hindu deities in Vrindavan, before he could get his hands on Govind Dev Ji, the devotees transported the deity to Rajasthan under the care of the Rajput kings. So that is a little bit of history of Govind Dev Ji deity. And till today, Govind Dev Ji is very, very, magnificent and opulent way he is worshipped in Jaipur. So if you go to India, going to Vrindavan is important. Going to Jaipur is equally important, just so that you can get darshan of Govind Dev Ji. So at the time of Sri Rupa Goswami, Govind Dev Ji was considered the primary, the Ishtadeva, the primary deity of entire Vrindavan. Whole of Vrindavan, Govind Dev Ji was the primary deity, the central deity of entire Vrindavan. And Sri Rupa Goswami selected this verse for Sri Murti Darshanam, because at the time of Rupa Goswami, everybody living in Vrindavan, there were not many people there, but whoever was there, every day would take darshan of Govind Dev Ji. Their day would not start without taking darshan of Govind Dev Ji. So this verse from Sri Varaha Purana is taken like this. Vrindavane tu Govindam ye pashyanti vasundhare nate yamapuram yanti punyakritam gatim. So again, this verse is also saying the same thing, that Vasundhare means this verse is being spoken to Vasundhara, Mother Earth. So, O Mother Earth, Vrindavane tu Govindam, that Govinda Dev. So this Varaha Purana has been written thousands of years ago by Vyasadeva, but he knew that Govinda Dev Ji deity will appear there by Vajranabh. It had been in Vrindavan for a long time, then it disappeared, then again it appeared, then it was taken to Jaipur, and it is there till today, the deity. So that is what is being mentioned. Vrindavane to go, that Govindaji of Vrindavan, ye pashyanti, one who sees my dear Mother Earth, nate yampuram yanti, one does not go to Yamapura. What is Yamapura? Means the place of Yamaraj. So one never gets to go to Yamaraj. One yanti, one instead goes to punya kritam gatim, to the most auspicious place. And Shri Jiva Goswami and Shri Vishvanatha Chakravarthy Thakur both explain that this punya kritam means they get Vaikuntha, or they get the result of doing pure Shuddha Bhakti. So that is what is mentioned. So Srila Rupa Goswami glorifies his deity with this perfectly chosen verse, because he had so much love for his deity. And he was sitting right in front of Govind Dev Ji when he was composing Śrī Bhakti-rasāmṛta-sindhuḥ. This was his last work. And this was his most important work. I think it was his last work, if I'm not wrong. I may be wrong on that. Anyway, and so he used this verse for Sri Govind Dev Ji. And in the commentary, it is mentioned that this highest punya kritam gatim, means bhakti. And both of them quote this verse. Both our acharyas, Sri Jiva Goswami and Vishvanatha Chakravarthy Thakur, quote this verse. Savai pumsham paro dharmo yato bhaktir adhokshaje ahaituki apratihata yayatma su prasidati. So you can go look up this verse in Srimad Bhagavatam. It says that the highest dharma, or the highest activity of any human being, is bhakti to Lord Krishna. So when it is written this punya kritam gatim, it means the result of that highest level of bhakti one attains. Okay, so that's a little bit on this verse. Let me see, there are a couple of chat questions or points. Raghunandan and Mukund Das. Okay, that's that story where prasadam was offered and the deity ate it. Then there's a message, I am not sure about Diksha's merits. Paramatma does not give Diksha for his close daily relationship with us. That close relationship exists as a fact. It seems strange that an external action is needed for an internal loving relationship to form or eternally exist between two persons. So Sai Prabhu is asking this question. So I know that I've had some discussions with Sai Prabhu. So I think you are still here. Yes. So see, the point is we are talking about, you are right to a certain extent. Okay. Please remember, we are talking about Vaidhi Bhakti. Don't forget the overall picture, big picture of Bhakti-rasāmṛta-sindhuḥ and where it is leading. So we are talking about Vaidhi Bhakti, and there is a certain, it is for those who do not have that innate extreme attachment to Bhagavan. Now, for those who have that raga, there is the other track of bhakti known as Raganuga Bhakti or Raga Bhakti, Raga Marga, it is called. One can argue that one does not need, and there basically one has that innate love for Krishna already. Now, like Srimati Radharani, the gopis, did they take Diksha from anyone? Have you heard? Diksha Guru. Who is the Diksha Guru of Lalita and Vishakha Devi? Who is the Diksha Guru of Subala, of Madhumangal? No Diksha Guru. Who is the Diksha Guru of Mother Yashoda? Have ever heard of Diksha Guru? So what I think you are doing is mixing these two. Okay. So I am nobody again. Okay. So I cannot say anything to you per se, but I would say that most of the people may not fall in that Raga Bhakti, Raga Marg category yet. And for them, it is it is not very necessary. I'm saying it is mandatory. So you have to evaluate where you are. If one feels that one is having that deep love already, or the desire for making progress in, or to know about Krishna, I already have that great attachment to Krishna. Now I just want to run on that path. We had discussed a little bit in the Rag Marg discussion. You can look up those lectures. You still need a guru to guide you through the Rag Marg. You still need a guide. You may not need a formal Diksha, but you need a Shiksha Guru. who is able to guide on the path of the Ragamarg. So I hope that helps to, kind of separate out these 2 points. And instead of, I feel that there is some kind of conflation occurring in your thought process. Okay, so you're saying thank you, understand the points. Glad. All right. Another point I will just mention for your benefit, like I know you're, we have discussed about the friendship aspect. So of course, we have discussed in the terms of friendship with Paramatma. I will just make a point that in the Rag Marg, there is definitely this aspect of friendship with Bhagavan. It is the Sakhya Rasa. So, that is something for you to, explore and see, at least read about it and see what it contains. It is not about Sakhya of Paramatma, it is about Sakhya of Krishna. But still, again, that Sakhya aspect at least is common to what you have shared with me and what, is present in our in the literature that guides us in our path of bhakti. So yeah, so we can discuss more offline. Okay, then next one is Aratik Darshanam. And this is again very straightforward. All of you must have attended Arati of the Lord in the temple. Most people come at the time of Arati, and it is very nice. You get to do 2 things at one time. You get to see the Lord, you get to do Murti Darshan and Murti Darshan at the time of Arati. So, buy one, get one free. So, that's a nice thing. So 3 verses are there, 67, 68, 69 from various Puranas. And it mentions, when it is said Artik Darshanam, it says Aratik Adi. So Arati, etc. So Jiva Goswami says Arati includes other worship ceremonies. Arati is not the only worship ceremony. Now you can just see the Lord when nothing is happening. Okay, it is like a resting, not a resting time, but like a free time. No ceremony is happening. Then you can see the Lord. But other ceremonies are also included within Aratik. So 167th verse talks about seeing the face of the deity. And of course, when you take darshan of the deity, I should have mentioned in the previous one, Shri Murti Darshanam, start from the feet and then go up like this. First, look at the feet of the Lord, then at the thighs of the Lord, then at the stomach of the Lord, belly, then at the chest, then at the neck, and then the face. So like this, one should progress up from down to up. Okay. Anyway, so here it is being said, assuming you have already, reached the top. So started from the bottom, reached the top, and then seeing the face of the Lord that is lit up by the lamp of the Arati. Kindly mute yourself. So seeing the face of the Lord, and then it is said that, next verse, that seeing the Lord during the Rath Utsava. So some ceremony is happening, like the Rath festival is happening. And then Shri Jiva Goswami adds that it is an Upalakshan. Festival of Rath Yatra festival is an Upalakshan. Seeing the Lord at any other festival also, it means, okay, like Kakebhyo Dadhi Rakshati, protect the yogurt from the crow, means protect the yogurt from all animals, not just the crow. So that is the standard example of Upalakshan. So in the same way, Rath Yatra means all festivals and all other worship ceremonies. So there are other worship ceremonies that are possible, like Abhishek of the Lord, when the Lord is being bathed, when the Lord is in a jhulan, he's being swinged or whatever, in a jhulan ceremony, and so many other ceremonies are there. Boat, he's sometimes put in a boat and he's given a boat ride, and so many things are possible. So many ceremonies are there. So seeing the Lord in all those ceremonies. Okay. Śravaṇam. All right. Now comes the heavy one, big one. So far it was all the, like, seeing the arati, seeing the Lord, seeing the festival, smelling the flower, the garland, eating prasad, all those things we discussed. So those were the more straightforward ones. Now here is the heavy hitter. And there are 4 verses on this in Bhakti-rasāmṛta-sindhu, 170 to 173. And the first one is just a definition that Rupa Goswami is giving of Śravaṇam. I will quote that one. And the next one is from Garuda Puran, and final 2 are from Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is one of the 5 most important limbs of Bhakti, Śravaṇam. So please pay very careful attention. And it is the first one among the 9 limbs of Bhakti. So Śravaṇam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam. So Śravaṇam is the first one among the 9 limbs of Bhakti. So extremely, extremely, extremely important limb of Bhakti, okay, is hearing. So hearing what? So hearing, we all understand, you know, ears, there is no option to close. Eyes, you can close. Ears, you cannot close. So if somebody is talking, you have to shut him up. You cannot close your eyes. Like, you know, you can close your eyes, you cannot close your ears. You have to ask him to shut up. So that is why so many people must have heard the Lord's name sometime or the other. So, you know, so the first what to hear. So this is the 170th verse, just one line. It says, Nama charita gunadim shrutir bhavet. So shrutir bhavet, or this shruti or shravan limb, includes what? Nama, charita, guna, adi. Adi means etc. So 3 things are mentioned, but etc. is added. And what it means? So 3 types of hearing. Nam means name of the Lord. Any of the bona fide names that are given in the scriptures. Okay. Not Tinku Pinku, but you cannot say that that is also name of the Lord. But it has to be a bona fide name of the Lord, whether it is Gopal or Krishna or Madhusudana or Ram, or so many names are there. In Bhagavad Gita itself, I was reading some list, 43 different names of Krishna are given in Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna uses different names for Krishna. I think I have that right. It's either 43 or 23. I forget. Anyway, so Gauranga Darshan Prabhu has a list I think in Gita Subodhini or something. Anyway, then Charita. So is the Charit means pastimes. It's also known as Leela. So Leela or Charit, etc. So that is, and then Guna is qualities. So these are the 3. And Adi means etc. It includes 3 more things. I was reading one particular book where 3 more things are mentioned. Rupa. So hearing the glorification of the form of the Lord. There are so many glorifications of the form of the Lord. Where the Lord's form, you know, the face is like a lotus, the eyes are like a lotus, the lips are red, like a, you know, bimba flower, or, you know, so many descriptions of the form of the Lord are given. Next is instructions by the Lord. Bhagavad Gita is a whole big, you know, instructions book. So many portions of Srimad Bhagavatam, like 11th canto Uddhav Gita, is also instructions, right? And then last one is the hearing about the parikaras. Parikaras means the close associates of Krishna. So these associates could be people, or it could be, I mean, everything in the spiritual world is a person. But like, for example, Venu Geet is glorifying the Venu, the flute of the Lord. So technically, like, flute is not a person. Of course, flute is a living entity in the spiritual world. So in that sense, it is a person. But I'm just saying parikara means paraphernalia as well as close associates. Both are included in that definition or meaning of parikar. So includes Rupa, Shiksha and parikar as well. So hearing about all these 6 things, and maybe there are more, I don't know, or I didn't list it, but at least there are 6 that we can hear. So Nama, Charita, Guna, Rupa, Shiksha and parikar. Okay, so 6 things to hear about. So that is verse number 170. 171 talks about the fact that the name. So 171, 172, 173. 3 verses are there. Each one focuses on one on Nam, next on Charita, next on Guna. So Rupa Goswami mentioned those 3 things, and Adi he added to include other things, but each verse he has dedicated to one of the 3 that he mentioned. So 171 is a straightforward verse. It is from Garud Purana, and it says that the name Krishna is the antidote to the bite of the snake of samsara. So we are all being bitten by the snake of samsara. Samsara means the material entanglements, the material misery. So we are all being bitten by that snake, and the name Krishna is the antidote to that poison. Okay, next. So 172nd verse is about Charita, pastimes. And this is from the 4th canto, 29th chapter. And I will give the essence here, that it talks about Charita, hearing the pastimes, how one should hear. Now it applies to others also, but in this verse, these aspects are given. How to hear with eagerness the pastimes and a constant thirst, like always thirsty. I remember some ad used to be there in India when I was small. What? Ye dil mange more. What is it for? I forget. So anyway.
It was for Pepsi, Prabhuji.
Pepsi, oh nice. So it is for thirst. So constant thirst, never unsatiable thirst for hearing the pastimes of the Lord with eagerness. And when you hear, you're like, okay, I want, wow, that's, any pastime is going on, you should have a feeling, wow, that's what I've been waiting to hear. Oh my God, I'm so happy that that pastime is specific pastime is, and the Lord will arrange. Believe me, Lord will arrange. If you have desire to hear about specific pastimes, somehow you think he cannot arrange, he will totally arrange. Somewhere, somehow, if he sees that eagerness in your heart, he'll arrange that specific pastime being discussed where you are present. And all you have to do is run and hear. So, yeah. So there is just so much to hear, and try to develop that eagerness, try to develop the taste for that. And it starts with hearing. So it is like, what is it? Syat Krishna Nama, Syat Krishna Nama, Charitadi Sitapya Vidya Pitto Patapta Rasanasya Narochikanu. So we have that jaundice, pitta, jaundice disease, and we are unable to have the taste of the name. But kintva adarat anudinam khalu saiva jushta. If every day we, with adar, and every day anudinam, we keep taking the medicine of hearing. Okay, then kintva darad anudinam khalu saiva jushta. Swadvi kramad bhavati tadgada mulahantri. Then we will develop the swad, the taste. So apply that 7th verse of Upadeshamritam and continue to hear. You will develop the taste, and then you will run. You will develop that constant thirst to hear with eagerness the pastimes. Now this eagerness and thirst, okay, and it leads to loss of material hunger. Once you are so eager to hear the pastimes, hours will fly and you'll say, hey, class is over. Oh, now only prasadam is left. Now next class will be tomorrow. So that hunger for prasadam, or prasadam hunger is good thing, but I'm saying one loses the material hunger that is known as ashan. So we say ashnashi, that the root word is ashan. To eat or hunger. thirst, trit, lamentation is gone, shoka, bhaya, moha, all these are dispelled from hearing the charita. Then next one is hearing the gunas of the Lord. This comes from 12th canto, 3rd chapter. And how to hear in assembly of devotees, Mahat Sangha, it is said, and daily with great enthusiasm, and especially hearing the gunas of the blue cowherd boy. So it is referring to the Vraj pastimes, not that specific verse, but the commentary by Acharyas include this, that hearing the pastimes, especially of the blue cowherd boy, which means hearing the Vraj pastimes, not even the Dwarka pastimes. You must hear, but give utmost #1 priority to Vraj pastimes of the Lord. And what it leads to, the verse says that it leads to complete purity in one's life. That's what it says. But our acharyas say that the meaning of that is it leads to Shuddha Krishna Bhakti. Of course, not one day hearing. That same logic you have to apply. It's not just one day you hear and you get Shuddha Krishna Bhakti. No, continuous hearing. Okay, so that's why it is said daily with great enthusiasm, you must hear. Okay, more on hearing, since it is such an important point. Hearing what? How to hear, from whom to hear. So the #1 thing to hear is Srimad Bhagavatam, no doubt about it. And it is so wonderful and it is so deep and so much is available. First of all, the Srimad Bhagavatam itself is pretty big. So it will take time. So, you know, and it is Krishna himself in the form of a book. And hearing from pure devotees, from Rasik devotees who have themselves relished. So Srimad Bhagavatam is to be relished. Even if you cannot relish, less relishment, more relishment, whatever is your degree meter of relishment, doesn't matter. Try to find more relishment, but even less relishment, somehow or the other here. And best is to hear from Sahridaya devotees. So who are like-minded with you, who, you know, with them you can have a very, very, very intimate, very sweet discussion and understanding of Srimad Bhagavatam. And like it is said, hear with great eagerness, enthusiasm, and attention. And what does, so again, all the things that we discussed apply to Srimad Bhagavatam also, but especially hearing Srimad Bhagavatam provides these 4 benefits. It strengthens our faith in Krishna. It dispels doubts. You will find so many points in the Srimad Bhagavatam which clearly dispel doubts. And this is the big one, the 3rd one. It removes our bahirmukta, our aversion from Krishna. And our bahirmukta means away from Krishna, but towards asat. Away from sat and towards asat, which means towards material things. It will turn it to antarmukta. Antarmukh means away from asat and towards sat or towards Krishna. And it increases our desire for devotee association. So, that is Srimad Bhagavatam. And on hearing Shri Nama, hearing the name, leads to Antahkarana Shuddhi. It leads to the cleansing of the heart, which in turn leads to good quality Shravana, which is known as Shravana Dasha, and then leads to high quality Smarana Dasha. Smarana means ability to absorb oneself in the remembering of the Lord. And so this discussion is about hearing of Srimad Bhagavatam and then hearing Nama. Also included in this hearing is all the other scriptures and commentaries by acharyas from our Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya that elaborate and analyze the Srimad Bhagavatam, which take the Bhagavatam as the foundation and analyze or elaborate on it. One primary example is what? Bhakti-rasāmṛta-sindhu. It is showing the signs of bhakti through the Bhagavatam. It makes a claim. Just in a scientific process, you make a claim, then you offer a shastric praman. Not an empirical praman, but a shastric praman. And 80% of the pramanas are from Bhagavatam. And plus there are more from Skanda Purana, Padma Purana, Agni Purana, Garuda Purana, and so many other places, but primarily from Bhagavat Purana. So Bhakti-rasāmṛta-sindhu would be included in this hearing. Hearing what? Bhakti-rasāmṛta-sindhu. And commentaries by acharyas. There are so many commentaries on Srimad Bhagavatam. Primary is Sridhar Swami's commentary. Of course, there is Srila Prabhupada's commentary in English. So those who, that is the number one. And it is very simple. Srila Prabhupada has written it for fools like me. So, very straightforward, simple commentary. Then if you can read Sanskrit little bit or Hindi, you can read other commentary. Now, Vishwanath Chakravarthy Thakur's commentary has also been translated by Bhanu Swami, His Holiness Bhanu Swami, in English. That is another excellent resource. Jiva Goswami's commentary is there, Kramasandarbha, on the Bhagavatam. So these are two very important commentaries. Kramasandarbha by Jiva Goswami and Sri Vishwanath Chakravarthy Thakur's. They are both available in English. Sridhar Swami's is not yet available in English. So if you can access other languages, Sanskrit or Hindi, you can access Sridhar Swami's commentary. And then there are the Sandarbhas by Jiva Goswami, which are basically analyzing the topics of Srimad Bhagavatam specifically into, from various points. So there are so many things. And Hari Parshad Prabhu is translating now Sri Hari Suri's commentary on the 10th canto, the Bhakti-rasāmṛta-sindhuḥ. And many other acharyas have written commentaries only on 10th canto. Srila Sanatan Goswami has written a commentary on 10th canto only. So many of those, and so much material is there to relish. I will finish the discussion on śravaṇam with this particular verse, 12.13.18. So this verse talks about the method of hearing. So it's not just hearing. Hearing sometimes means like a radio. You turn it on, yes, I'm hearing. What are you doing? I'm hearing. That's good. Nothing to make fun of or anything like that. But one should understand that that is the beginning level. It's not the highest level. Okay, so you got to begin somewhere. Okay, so there's nothing to feel bad about it. But one must know that there is a next level, next level, next level. So the next level is to study. So when you hear, you should be able to at least mentally, for example, tell yourself, here are the 5 things I heard today. The important 5 things. It includes 2 aspects: ability to list down 5 things and also to not miss anything important. Yeah, you can list down 5 some side things and you missed the whole main point. Yes, you got the number 5. See, these 5 things I heard from the class. Yes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's say it's a class about Krishna. He is blue, he has a flute, he ate butter, he did this. But you missed the point, and let's say the class was about that Krishna is Bhagavan, Swayam Bhagavan, but you forgot that. I can find you a blue boy, you can go to some play where some child is acting like Krishna, and he will be blue, he will have a flute, he will steal butter, but that actor is not Swayam Bhagavan. Or I'm just making an example. That's why in Bhakti Shastri, in the long questions exam, I deduct points if you missed some key points that should have been included in the answer. And you missed that, I cut points. So you lose points for something you have not written. Okay, so that is one aspect of studying, is to be able to summarize in your mind what you have read and also not miss out on the key points that are expected to be learned. So that is the meaning of studying, and it includes many things: making notes, or whatever, making notes is a very, central thing to study. Third one is to absorb and contemplate. How does it apply to my life? Okay. So applying it to one's own life, those things. And finally, revising that. Okay, one time you have done, but have a method to sometimes revise. And you cannot revise everything. Let's say you have reached 7th canto of Bhagavatam. Oh my God, it is so much. You cannot be expected to revise. Let's say you are making nice notes and all those things you have done. By the time you reach 7th canto, if I tell you, okay, today you revise everything from 1 to 7, it will take you 2 months to do that. So it's not about that, but you note down, make a sub list, a smaller list of things that you want to revise. Oh, these things I do want to revise on periodic basis. So mark out things in your notes that you would like to come back and revise periodically. For many people, it is memorizing some key verses of Bhagavatam and repeating them. See, if you don't repeat, then you will begin to forget the verses especially. So some key verses, memorize and understand the meaning of every word of the verse, every word. So that when you are repeating the verse, the meaning of the word is obvious to you in your mind. Like I was just repeating, Syat Krishna Nama Charitapi Sitapya Vidya. So Syat Krishna Nama Charitapi. So taking the name or the chanting the Charita, Sitapya Vidya, and that we don't find taste in it because of avidya, Sitapya Vidya. Pitto patapta rasanasya narochikan. And because of this, avidya is the disease like pitta, like jaundice, pitto patapta rasanasya narochikanu. There is no taste and there is no interest. Ruchi is missing in that because of the disease of the jaundice of avidya. So I'm just telling you, I couldn't tell you the meaning of every single word, but the general meaning should become obvious. So like that, so revising the verses is a very important or very nice way of revision of past Shastra, past Bhagavatam that you have read, and note down these verses I will revise. Out of 18,000, by the time, let's say you finish Bhagavatam, you can easily have 400 to 500 verses to memorize. And that's not hard. 400 verses is fine. Bhagavad Gita is 700. Many people know full Bhagavad Gita, end to end. So half of Bhagavad Gita, 400, 500 verses, plus maybe 100 verses from Bhagavad Gita. In Bhakti Shastri, you have to memorize 35. That's 2 less. So in my Bhakti Shastri, it was almost 70 or 80. Now they have reduced the standard because too many people were dropping out. So 100 verses from Bhagavad Gita, 500 from Bhagavatam, maybe another 100 from other places. 600-700 verses you can memorize in your life, if not more. So that could be your revision and repeat. Once you have done or you have seriously started doing this, share it with others. Teaching is the best way of learning, it is said. Okay, so this is the method of hearing, of cementing, of firming up our hearing. Any questions so far? It's 6:30, but I didn't want to go through the Shravana section fast, so this is important. Now, next one is very, very, very important limb. I think I will cover it next time. Okay, and it is about kripa apeksha, expecting the mercy of the Lord. That also is a limb of bhakti. Expecting the mercy of the Lord. Now we are going to transition into the limbs. So here we talked about the various external sense organs, eyes, tongue, nose, smelling the flower, right? Hearing, ears. So we covered all the external senses, nose, eyes, ears, and tongue. And touching also, sparshanam, touching the deity. Remember? So we covered those things today. Now comes mind. And that's where Kripa Upeksha comes. And then it will come Smarana and Dhyana. So those are very deep topics. Next Saturday we have. Yeah, so we will cover those next Saturday. It's going to be an extremely important class next Saturday to discuss these very deep topics of Kripa Upeksha, Smarana, Dhyan, and then we will go into Dasya. So that is all what is coming up. And please pay very careful attention to those topics. Any questions? All right. Thank you so much for your kind attention and for letting me study Bhakti-rasāmṛta-sindhu and share with you whatever little I have studied. Thank you. Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna,
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Hare
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, we will close the call then. Thank you.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.